Welcome to the Weekly Terry, where we're going to talk Picard Season 3. And today we have something really, really, really important to talk to you guys, because let me just tell you guys something. Star Trek Picard Season 3 is now or never. Okay?
Now or never.
We know you haven't seen it yet.
No, you haven't.
We've had the luxury. You have not. And everything is based on faith.
Yep.
Okay? Like
Pure.
religion, which
Pure
is a completely faith-based thing. We require faith for Picard Season 3.
Yes. Drink the Kool-Aid.
This is what we'll tell you.
Let's stop.
The future of Star Trek is not good. Let's put it that way. The future outlook of Star Trek, as it's currently traveling, is not good for longtime legacy fans. Legacy fans who want Star Trek made by people who love Star Trek, people who understand Star Trek, who want to make Star Trek and not go, you know what would be great is like, how about if we did like Star Trek that's like, I don't know, what's another TV show that's really popular? CW Star Trek. Or,
yeah,
you know.
SVU, Law and Order.
Yeah, let's do SVU Star Trek. So what we have right now is a bunch of people who that's kind of the way they think. Like, let's make Star Trek like CSI, or let's make Star Trek like this show over here. They don't say, let's just make Star Trek, right? Let's make good Star Trek. Let's go back and, look at what makes Star Trek great, and let's go forward making Star Trek great in the future. There is nobody doing that except Terry Matalas.
And if you want proof, the first Picard was pretty much Logan in Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
And then
not even good though. Not good.
Well, yeah, it wasn't good though. Then you got, and no offense to Lower Decks, I like it, but it's pretty much Rick and Morty. It's like someone goes, "What if we did Star Trek but like Rick and Morty? And we'll get the same animators and the same voice actors." And I like Lower Decks. Not talking. It is not Rick and Morty, but I know someone at that studio was like, "What if we did Star Trek Rick and Morty, adult Rick and Morty?"
You've nailed it, Brian. That is exactly the way shows are being pitched, because the idea of being creative and like coming up with a novel idea yourself and doing something, it's all about stealing from someone else at this point. Okay.
Well, because they have to, so they go into a pitch meeting. They go, I have to pitch this to this executive, this writer or this whatever runner. They got to pitch something, and they know the executive is not actually a fan of Star Trek, and they only care about what is popular. So they go, okay, guys, check us out. Star Trek meets Yellowstone.
Right. Yes.
That's what they do.
True.
Super Chat from Marvel Nation. Nobody spikes the Kool-Aid better than Brian and Shane.
That is true. Thank you.
Very true.
Drink that Kool-Aid, guys. Drink it.
And the proof we need for Terry is 12 Monkeys. Easy peasy. All Terry. All day.
Yes. Thank you, Orville Nation. It's true. If you go back and look at his other stuff, and it'll tell you that he makes good shows. But more importantly about Terry, and I know we've said this lots of times, and I'm not trying to do anything to you, but he loves Star Trek like we love Star Trek, like I do, like Brian does, like you guys do. He loves it like that. He really watches it. He obsesses about Star Trek the way we do. Okay, so he's the right guy to make Star Trek. Now, here's the thing. Going forward, we can't really say anything about it, but we have a view of where Star Trek is going to go after Picard Season 3. Like, we have some information that would indicate that it's going to go to a place that we don't want it to go.
Right.
As of right this moment, about a month before Picard Season 3 airs, the powers that be have a vision of what Star Trek is going, and it's not going any place that we're going to love it, that we're going to like it. It's going to be more of kind of what we've got now.
Right.
Okay. The only thing that's going to change it is Picard Season 3 to come out, and the fan base goes ape shit gaga over it.
Right.
And loves it. If they go, oh my God, this, if the studio gets shook by people going, this is the best Star Trek that's happened since Voyager. If that's what happens to the fan base, and they see all of a sudden that people love it and great things are happening, then they're going to allow Terry to make more.
Right.
If they don't get that, there's a really good chance they're not going to let him make any more.
Right. And it's going to be another, hey, what about Star Trek meets?
Yes.
Insert random true. CW garbage show here.
Right. Insert random member berry time frame. What can we do here? Because the people making Star Trek don't really understand Star Trek.
Like they do. They like Khan, right? If they like Khan, let's do Khan.
Well, yeah. So they're like people who've never seen it and go, well, that was popular. Right. So let's kind of do that. Right. But then they're missing the heart and soul of what Star Trek is. Like Prodigy kind of got it.
Yeah.
Like the people doing the cartoons. So that's cool.
But I would argue maybe they got it because they had a lot less. They didn't really have oversight, right?
Yeah, that has a lot to do. Well, they didn't have oversight. Well, none of them have oversight.
That's true.
It's not about oversight. It's about Michelle Paradise being in charge of Discovery, and Michelle Paradise isn't a Star Trek fan. I'm sorry, Michelle. You can tell us you're all Star Trek fans, but you're not. If you go back, you're not a sci-fi person. You're not a big Star Trek fan. So you made Discovery in the way that you think Star Trek should be made. Right. Like an idealistic version of what you think people would like in Star Trek. But the problem is if you don't love it, if you don't feel it, you can't make it. Right? Like it's like an alien trying to understand Earth. You know, they can see how we operate, but they don't understand it.
Right.
You got to come from the inside. And so everybody who created great Star Trek came from the inside. Think about the people from TOS, Gene coming into TNG, bringing in a bunch of people, sharing his vision, those people buying into his vision, continuing that vision, and then the people in TNG working on Voyager, DS9, Enterprise. Okay, for those of you still not mad at it anymore, you know, the legacy, the chain of legacy continues. Well, guess what? Terry Matalas comes from that chain of legacy.
He does, yeah.
He comes from the Voyager Enterprise group.
Right. Who else does?
We need to continue the chain of legacy. There are other people who made Star Trek back then, but they're not anywhere near Paramount doing this stuff right now.
Right. Then that is key. Nothing else has that era, has that thing, those fingerprints of the Bierman era show series is doing any new Star Trek right now, except for Terry Matalas.
Right. And so you haven't seen it, and we're asking you to take a huge leap of faith.
Sure.
We just want you to be prepared. There's nothing you can do about it right now. Until the show airs, all there is conjecture. It's when the show airs. If people are talking about it well, and all of a sudden all the news sites start talking about it well, and you get this kind of, you can sense the fervor happening and going, oh, this is good Star Trek. And all of a sudden you're going to start seeing headlines, this is the best Star Trek we've had since such and such, right? You're going to start seeing that stuff. Now, if we see that, the fans rally behind it. That's the only opportunity we have, okay? Someone has to catch the powers that be, Alex Kurtzman's attention, the studio head's attention, and say, this is the direction we need to take Star Trek in.
Right.
This is our only opportunity, guys. This is a one-time shot. Because if it doesn't happen, I have a feeling that we're going to have years and years and years of tepid, lukewarm Star Trek that none of us are going to be happy about.
Yeah, and they might not even continue it in the future. It'll probably just be in some random time frame. It'll be in some random time frame. Yeah.
Well, or some characters. It's just the heart of Star Trek. You know, thank you for the super chat here from Orville Nation, $5. Prodigy gets it because it's very outsourced. The Hagman brothers get it. That's it. Like, somebody who loves it needs to get it. And they're doing a great job. You know, we've talked about the fact that they're using Janeway's voice. I mean, that's a huge part of it. You know, you need someone to uphold the ideals of the Federation and to bring forth hope for the future.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. Sorry to interject, but we were talking about this earlier. The Kobayashi Maru episode where they used Spock's voice from the TOS era, and they didn't have him playing a character that's out of character. They had aside from being animated, it felt like I was seeing Spock again. And then even up to the very end, the message he gives him at the end of that episode is like just such a Spock thing. They really did understand that character. I felt like I was watching Spock. It wasn't just a memory berry. It was part of the series. It was part of the show.
They used his literal, lines from TOS to interact with it. So it felt very natural. You could even hear the hollow, tinny audio, change when you're watching Prodigy. You're like, yeah, that's definitely old audio. Right. And now granted, you can't do that with today's things. And you're going to have characters that are new and different. And you're going to want to have some of these crossovers. I mean, look, when Spock went on to TNG, right? When Leonard Nimoy went on to TNG and you had the Romulan, they tried to forge the Romulan, peace deal, right? With Romulans and Vulcans coming back together again. And then Spock headed that up, old man Spock. I mean, that was great.
Right.
Right. That was fantastic. We ate that up when Scotty came on and got trapped up in the transporter for all those years.
Oh, the Dyson Sphere episode. One of my favorite episodes, man.
Great episode when Dr. McCoy is walking the halls of the new Enterprise and judging it. And, there's a place and a feeling for that. That's so critical. Mm-hmm. But what's happening with Star Trek now is there's this immersion in that feeling. There's an overdone of that. It should be treated like a spice, like a salt with a little bit of it. So ideally they need to move into the future with characters that we know and love. And what they need to do is stop dragging us back into the past. We need to move forward. Star Trek needs to happen in the future.
Right.
Not too far into the future, but it needs to continue on its path.
Yeah, let's be clear. We did not mean 900 years into the future.
Right.
Let's avoid that altogether. Let's pretend that when they went into the future, they split, they made a branch timeline like that, like Jaborgi did. And now they're in their own little time frame and they're not part of what's going on here. Because I don't want to know the future. I don't want to know what happens in 900 years. I just don't. You know what I mean? I don't.
Right. Super chat from Joe, the Joe Cronin Show.
Joe Cronin.
$10. Thank you, Joe. Let's go. He's back. I want those 2 first Picard episodes up free on YouTube in January. Paramount, come on. Kind of to get the juices going, right? I don't think Paramount's going to do it, but I love that idea, Joe.
I looked it up, and they did put the first episode of both the first and second season on YouTube.
I mean, I hope they do it, but I just have this feeling that, I mean, if they did it for the second season, I guess they might do it again. So that would be cool.
You might get the first episode, not the first 2.
I mean, why not? There's a lot of people who checked out. Yeah, it's not a bad idea, actually, because there's so many people who've checked out of Star Trek, and they got to be aware of it.
Right.
You toss it up on YouTube, and all of a sudden, boom, there's a new Paramount Plus subscription coming into Picard season 3. So it could happen, Joe. It's not a bad idea.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Joe, that super chat should have gone to the IRS.
What?
Joe was telling us how he's extraordinarily in debt to the IRS or something like that. He was like, a tall building might be in my future. I'm like, no, Joe, don't do it.
Oh. Very cool. Well, I'm glad that.
I caught his show, by the way. Joe's show is nice. It's a good show. It's all awesome. About WWF stuff and all that.
Well, go check it out if you like some wrestling. Go check out Joe. There is the Republicans are voting on abolishing the IRS. That did come out today. So if you're interested in that, they want to abolish the IRS. No more income tax. Federal. That's not going to pass, by the way. But
I mean, but wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah, we just have to figure out how else we're going to pay everybody.
I have a question here, and I'm sorry. I'm in no way am I getting political here, okay? But in this like recession where everyone is stressed out about money and everyone's firing everyone, right? How are we hiring more IRS agents?
Well, because the Democrats knew that they were going to need a whole bunch of money to pay for this, and so they hired them to go get that money. That's why.
I mean, we don't have any money. Hire 70,000 new agents. Like, what?
I'll tell you what, we'll talk about it in the member section. Let's keep going with Terry.
All right. Maria, sing me a song. Your fabulous super chat.
Oh, thank you for the super chat, Maria. I got to tell you, Maria put out a tweet yesterday that got everybody's attention.
Oh, yeah. Jeez, Maria.
Yeah, so Maria, obviously a beautiful woman, posted up a picture that made everybody get a little hot under the collar. So thank you for that, Maria. We appreciate it. But go check out Maria as well. If you check out Joe, make sure you check out Maria. Good YouTubers. And I think I said earlier.
When I saw it on my feed, I was like, what OnlyFans account am I following?
Don't put Maria in that corner. Don't do that.
I'm kidding. You're gorgeous, Maria.
Anyways, let's go back to Metalis here. So this is the weekly Terry. So we're talking Picard season 3. A couple things coming. So we do know that there's going to be a trailer coming out, and Terry has confirmed this. Somebody here on Twitter said, at Terry Metalis, We are getting close to the premiere of Star Trek Picard, and I gotta know, will there be a final trailer to wet our whistles before the premiere? Make it so. And Terry responded with the word yes.
Yes.
Now, we are pretty sure that trailer is going to drop in succession with NFL playoffs coming up.
Yeah, I talked about this a little bit when you were gone.
Uh-huh.
And based on what we know about trailers, just general knowledge, I do believe it could be as early as next Thursday or as late as the following Tuesday.
I think it's going to be later than that. I know we have that thought process because in one of the articles, it talks about how there's a couple of events occurring, which would be ideal for them to put it out. And based on the way it's done previously, and I don't know if it's this article or it's another one we have linked here, which I'll get to it in just a second. Let's see if we have it here. Now that I have moved everything around, I got to go find my links again.
It's okay.
But essentially there's an event coming up where they could drop the trailer. And I want to say it's going to be it could be either next Monday, right? Is what they were saying.
Okay.
Or they're going to hold it all the way to the 29th, which lines up more with what I've heard. Okay.
Okay. Can you explain why it would be on the 29th? That's so late in the game.
It's not really. That's a little over 2 weeks before the show airs. The 29th is Sunday, and it's a huge playoff weekend for the NFL. Huge, big games. It'll be the championship games before they go to the Super Bowl.
There's a lot of crossover with the NFL and Star Trek?
When the NFL has 30 to 50 million people watching, It doesn't matter if you cross over.
I mean, in that case, they might as well just buy a Super Bowl ad then.
No, because those are a lot more expensive than NFC, AFC championship games.
Okay,
it's like
fair.
4 times the money.
Yeah. I heard it was like $1 million a minute or something like that.
It was, yeah. It used to be. I don't know what it is this year, but at one point it was that.
Imagine it costing $1 million a minute. Hey, Raid Shadow Legends. Next time you come up with these weak proposals, remember $1 million a minute. Okay.
Well, GoDaddy created an entire business out of it.
Oh yeah, they did. They did.
So,
yeah. GoDaddy is the reason why it's $1 million a minute.
Right. So anyways, it will be coming out later on, and Terry confirmed that there will be another trailer. We will tell you that trailer is going to give you new insight on new things, on a couple new things.
So
you'll want to see it.
Just to specify here, because this is very, very important to me. You think it might be the 29th because that's when the playoffs happen between the two teams that are going to be one of the two teams that are heading to the Super Bowl the following couple weeks, right?
And it doesn't come from me. That's from industry sources that say that they think that's when it's going to come out, and not even it's published. So this isn't insider information. It's coming from people who are used to knowing when these things drop, and that's what they're saying. It'll either be at this event, and let me see if it's
what
here.
Is that called? Is that called the Rose Bowl?
No, that's for college.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is
I don't know
NFL. This is either the NFC or AFC championship.
I know nothing about football or sports. But so is that a nationally televised event though?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's actually
it'll have more people watching that than almost anything else besides the Super Bowl.
So I did research a few months ago on trailer drops, right?
Mm-hmm.
And generally speaking, and when I say generally, more than 50% of the time, trailers are dropped on either a Tuesday or a Thursday, and it's pretty much split between those two, with Tuesday being the most popular by a hair. But what changes those drops are special events, aka Super Bowl, Comic-Con, premieres for big shows that are coming back after. There are certain events that completely supersede that. And those are outliers in my data, and so I didn't even include them in my data because it's entirely possible you're right here.
Well, we heard from a pretty reliable source that the trailer would be happening at the end of January, and that does line up with when I'm hearing about this 29th of January. That does seem to line up with what we've been told.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, I'm kind of just leaning that way. Now, if it happened next Monday, that's possible because there is an event, some sort of Paramount event where they could drop it next Monday. It's potentially possible.
Right. And you know what's funny is next Monday is exactly 30 days, which is usually the last, when it comes to TV trailers, the very final trailer is dropped in that 30-day mark. And that would put it right there. That's why I said earlier it could be as early as next Monday or as late as the 23rd. Or 24th, but I guess technically it could be also as late as the 29th now if you include that game.
The reasoning wasn't 30 days. The reasoning was a specific Paramount event, something that's happening on that day.
No, I recognize that, but also according to the stats, 30 days is usually when that final trailer is dropped before a TV show.
It makes sense. It gives people enough time to get excited about it. Yeah, right. That's true. But they're not going to reach as many eyeballs. It's better to wait for a football game, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. And that event is on the 16th, huh?
The event is on the 29th. Oh, the event for Paramount?
Yeah.
Is on the 16th. I'll have to pull it up again. I was reading through something. I can't remember what it was called. It's like a TM event or some sort of, I don't remember what it was. Yeah. It's possible it could drop Monday. It's possible.
Yeah. All right.
But we were told by somebody on the inside that it is at the end of the month. So
let's hope it doesn't drop Monday. Let's hope instead, for the series' sake, that it drops when the most amount of people are watching TV at that specific time.
Yes, because, prime example reason why this has to happen this way. And I pray to God that Paramount, the marketing can screw things up so bad. If you think about it, there's so many people like not in the loop who aren't like watching YouTube channels and like staying up with like what's going on with Picard and TNG, you know, what's going on with Star Trek. There's a lot of people out there just not watching Star Trek in general who were TNG fans growing up, but aren't like locked in right now. They're going to be watching football. They're going to see Picard season 3 come on and go, holy crap, they're bringing back everybody from the original series.
Right.
And that's going to go ding, ding, ding. And that's going to make them go check it out probably. So it's just wise to get it in front of as many eyes as possible.
It'd be better if it was on the 29th then. Okay. All right. So that's hey, let's hope for the 29th. Although remember the first announcement came in the middle of Picard season 2. And it was funny at first we're like, why would they do that? And then we found out that like they just didn't care about season 2.
Yeah, well, it was that, and I think they were afraid that the information was going to come out anyways, right?
Right. They just weren't concerning themselves
with the release.
Right. Yeah, it's
they
almost
wanted
like
to control the release. Yeah.
They weren't concerning themselves with season 2. They were like, let's just get it out there on our terms, right?
Yeah, they wanted. Yeah, exactly. They were afraid it would come out and they wouldn't be able to control when it was released, and I think that was a problem because it could have been used. But then again, you know, I also think that now looking back on it, since we're going to be watching it like a year later, basically, it may not have been that much to show us inside Picard season 2, especially since the seasons don't touch each other.
Right.
Like they're not connected, right? You don't need to watch Picard season 2 to watch Picard season 3. So maybe it wouldn't have been a good idea to have him show up.
Right.
You know, because now that gives people even more of an argument that, oh, that crappy Picard season 2 is now connected to our precious, beautiful Picard season 3.
Yeah, that's good point. That's a really good point.
So that's why another reason why Terry Matalas is so damn smart. Okay, I'm just saying.
Smart guy.
Okay, so let's go on to this other part here. It says Star Trek Picard season 3, Stewart talks Beverly's thrilling surprise, and the showrunner teases the final trailer. Okay, so this is the one where it talks about that. But it looks like Patrick Stewart's been out there talking about stuff going on in Picard season 3, so we don't want to leave you guys off. Patrick Stewart talks about him getting the message. So we did get that little teaser that came out where it showed him getting the message from his old communicator. And Patrick Stewart spoke on that. And what he said was that Picard, he felt abandoned by Crusher. That's not something we knew before. He felt abandoned by Crusher. She just disappeared out of his life. Now, the last time we saw him was on Nemesis, and she hadn't disappeared from anywhere.
No.
So this is new information. He felt abandoned by her. She just disappeared out of his life. He adored her, and that was never resolved. So they did not have a resolution. But she has a surprise when she appears that thrills and then enrages him. Come on, Jean-Luc. Come on, Jean-Luc.
Come on, Jean-Luc.
Why don't you just say it, dog? Why don't you just say it?
She has a surprise that thrills.
What
and
sort of
enrages
surprise
me.
could she have that will thrill him and enrage him?
What surprise could that be?
Go back and look at one of our previous videos. That's all we're going to say.
Just go to the Podcast Prime channel and look at the last Picard video. It's pretty simple.
It's not the last one, but
it's not. Okay. Well, it's the one that has
a shadow on it.
The silhouette of a man on it. You'll see it real quick.
Yeah. That's all we'll say.
That's why.
If you want to know why he's talking about that, then you can go ahead and look there.
Yeah, someone was arguing with me in the comment section of that video, like, you guys are dumb. No way it could be a son, okay? It has to be. I'm like, all right, guy, whatever. Like, I'm not going to argue with you.
Right. It has been previously revealed the season will start with an attack on the SS Elios, a medical ship with Dr. Beverly Crusher on board. After receiving a distress call from Crusher, shown in that clip, Jean-Luc Picard seeks out the help of William Riker to rescue her. And then we're off to the races.
Number one.
Stewart, right. Stewart also talked about how things have changed with Worf. The change to his personality is one of the most delightful things this season. He becomes increasingly complex, where in Next Generation, you always knew what gruff response you'd get from him. This is like nail on the head here.
Yeah.
Worf is one of the most interesting characters. I would say Worf and Riker are the two most interesting characters as far as the depth that we go into with them. You get to see things you didn't really understand before about them necessarily.
Yeah.
And it really adds to the character. And he just basically laid that out to say, you know, you're going to love that. And I think you're going to love it too. I love what I would call this to be like pinnacle peak Worf. Like,
yeah,
the peak of the character.
Okay. So Worf has always been one of my favorite characters. In fact, I'm going to be real honest. The only reason I even watched DS9 originally was because of Worf. I didn't start watching it at the beginning. I was like, oh, Worf is on it? Okay, now I'll watch it. I love Worf. I don't necessarily love all the Klingons, but I love Worf. Some of the Klingons are like sort of cheesy and cartoony, and they don't work for me. But overall, Worf is one of my.
You don't love Gowron? What?
No, I love Gowron for the glory of the Empire. I can't even make my eyes that big. For the glory of the, I can't.
I kind of like Gowron actually.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
It's his brother. I can't stand Worf's brother.
The
famous Candyman.
Such a D-bag. Tony Todd.
Yes.
Anyways, I loved Worf, and when we saw it, I was worried. Are they going to mess? Is my precious Worf going to be diminished in my eyes? Because my favorite characters are pretty much Worf and I would say Worf and toss up between Geordi and Data, right?
Yes.
My favorite characters to look at was always, Beverly and Crusher. I'm sorry, Beverly and Troy. But my favorite characters to watch interact was Worf and Data and Geordi. When I saw this, it made the character even better. I loved what they did with the character. It felt like a natural progression. It worked. The old Worf was there, and there was new parts to his character that made so much sense, and it was so gosh darn entertaining, man. He was so amazing in this.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. So some more information. I've actually found that thing that talked about the trailer.
Good.
So it says here that there's a Television Critics Association event taking place this Monday. And there they could release a new trailer and possibly new images. They could, not necessarily. There's no other upcoming conventions or events that would allow that to happen in January, except for the NFL AFC Championship game, which streams on Paramount Plus, key, and airs on CBS. That would be the time to do it.
Yeah.
And that would line up with what we've been told.
Yeah. With that information, with what you just said, if I was a betting man, I would bet on the 29th.
It feels like that's what's going to happen.
Right.
So that is pretty much all the information we have for you guys today for Terry Trek.
Wait, real quick though. I'm sorry. There was some characters also teased by Terry.
Oh, I missed those. Where's that at?
Yeah. It said
I'm in the wrong one. Yeah, there you go.
It's okay.
Good.
Okay. Yeah, it said Terry Matalas teases more characters returns from TNG and adjacent shows. Patrick Stewart, Jean-Luc Picard won't be the only famous Star Trek character returning from Picard Season 3 on Paramount Plus, obviously. Fans have long known that Picard will be joined with the entire main cast of TNG, but it now appears that even more long-awaited Star Trek character returns are in the cards for Picard Season 3, as showrunner Matalas revealed at this week's TCA 23 panel via Trek Central. Damn it, Trek Central. Fans can expect to see a few new next-gen adjacent characters popping up in the final season. Next-gen adjacent, of course, means the other two shows that took place during the TNG era, Deep Space Nine and Voyager.
Well, I mean, we kind of knew that, but yeah, that's good. I mean, I'm glad that he put it out there.
I know, but now we can reveal this information, Shane.
But he's already said, he's already said this. Now, this is not new news. He said this at the New York convention when they asked the questions. He said, are we going to see people from DS9? Are we going to see people from here? He goes, probably, or something like that. He said something that was an affirmative, and we've been reporting on it since then.
But I feel like this is more conclusive.
I mean, I guess it's completely conclusive, but we've also been saying this for the last month and a half.
Okay, that's true.
So, yeah. So guys, you might see some people from DS9 or Voyager.
No, you will see some people from DS9 and Voyager.
That's not necessarily true.
That's what he said.
Okay, well, let's see. It remains to be seen what other random adjacent characters. I said you may see some from DS9 or Voyager.
Oopsie.
So you will see one from one or the other for sure, but there may not be any from one, or may not be much from one.
I hate
Does
this
that
so
make
much.
sense?
I can't wait for the show to air and we can just be like, see guys, this is what we're talking about.
No, what I'm trying to say is like there are more from one show than from another.
Yes,
that's what I'm trying to say.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true. That's
so I was trying to get to that whole. Honestly, there's more TNG characters unexpected, I think, in this show than even side shows.
Oh yeah.
That's really where
I know what you're talking. I know what you're thinking right now in your brain, and that one's like.
The bread and butter is where is really the depth that goes into TNG.
It really does. It's a continuation of TNG. It's TNG after 30 years. It's what it is. It's really what it is. It's not a continuation. You know what? It's not a continuation of Picard seasons 1 and 2. It's a continuation of TNG, and they only reference that because they have to.
It's a continuation, honestly, of Nemesis.
Right.
If we want to be honest.
Yep.
Because here's the deal. All good things happened at the end of TNG. Mm-hmm. Right. We had that episode, the time travel, where we got to see kind of like what a quasi future would look like. Right. But then Nemesis happened after that. And that gave us the reality of where TNG was at that point.
Right.
So this is a continuation of Nemesis. And Nemesis was hugely disappointing. So this is not. That's it.
So here's a little spoiler for you. Is Harry Kim still an ensign? Yes.
Harry Kim will always be an ensign. Just ask him at any convention.
As far as we know, Harry Kim is still an ensign.
Right. All right. Make sure you guys stay tuned. We've got 4 more weeks to talk Picard season 3 before it actually happens. And you're going to want to be here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because we are going to be the #1 Picard season 3 channel on all of YouTube. I promise you, we're going to have information nobody else is going to have. Make sure you guys come back here to hang out with us.
Yeah, we are making moves. We've been making moves for 6 or 7 months now. We're making sure that we are going to have this giant slate set up. So when we are so excited about Picard season 3 and we think the reception is going to be so stellar that we are pushing everything else we normally do during that time, and we're going to almost solely focus on Picard season 3. And we have people in place that we've made deals with to actually get the information we need and get everything, get all the videos and live stuff all situated. It's going to be a really wonderful thing. You don't want to. I wish I could say more, but I can't. You don't want to miss it. So please subscribe, and hit the comment section and let us know what you guys think.